In a world that never turns off the lights, people are paying for a state of false wakefulness with their very life energy. We go to bed late, wake up exhausted, and spend the entire day drifting, tense, sluggish, easily irritated. The paradox is this: we sleep enough hours, yet never truly rest. The body lies still, but the mind keeps running. The moment our eyes close, thoughts resume. Worries, regrets, calculations. Sleep, meant to restore us, quietly becomes a nightly struggle. Modern people often ask, "How many hours of sleep do I need?" The Japanese ask a different question: "Is this sleep in harmony with nature?" Because in Eastern philosophy, fatigue doesn't come only from lack of sleep. It comes from energy leakage, when your rhythm of living drifts away from the rhythm of nature. Artificial light tears apart the biological clock. Work pressure follows us all the way into bed. Ambition refuses to let us stop. And so, even after 7 or 8 hours of sleep, we wake up feeling like we've just fought a battle. Japanese philosophy does not see sleep as simply lying down to get it over with, but as a ritual of returning to the body, to the breath, to the original rhythm nature gave each of us. Sleep is not an escape from fatigue, it is the end of wasting energy throughout the day. That's why people who live in harmony with nature don't sleep less by forcing themselves. They sleep less because they no longer waste energy unconsciously. There is no mental noise, no inner combat when night falls. When body, mind, and vital energy are placed correctly, sleep naturally becomes deep, short, and fully restorative. Sleeping in harmony with nature is not a technique, it is a path of awakening. And when you step into the right rhythm, sleep is no longer a problem, it becomes a source of strength. If you find this content helpful, please like and subscribe so you don't miss future insights.
1. A Zen view of sleep. Quality over quantity. In Zen understanding, sleep is not a block of time cut away from life, but a continuous flow of energy. When you lie down, the body does not shut off, it enters a subtle operating rhythm programmed by nature itself. Each night, the body moves through cycles of roughly 90 minutes, where deep sleep and REM rise and fall like the tide. At times, the system sinks to restore the body. At others, it rises to restructure the mind. Sleeping well is not about sleeping longer, it's about not disrupting that flow. Modern people fail at sleep not because they lack time, but because they interfere too much. Blue light stretches artificial daytime deep into the night. Unresolved anxiety follows us into bed. Obsession with productivity and achievement keeps the mind on constant alert. Biological cycles are broken. The natural flow is blocked. The result? Long hours of sleep, yet waking up exhausted. Body at rest, but the inner self never sheathing its sword. In Zen philosophy, fatigue is not a sign that you haven't done enough, it's a sign you're out of rhythm. When the mind doesn't settle, sleep remains superficial. Muscles may relax, but the nervous system never recovers. Energy isn't replenished, it's merely hidden. Long sleep in a state of unease doesn't restore, it only prolongs depletion. Zen philosophy offers a simple yet profound truth. Quality always comes before quantity. You don't need more hours if every hour is disturbed. You don't need to force the body to rest more when what's needed is less interference with nature, less excess light, fewer excess thoughts, less control. When you stop at the right time and let go in the right way, the natural flow of sleep returns on its own, without struggle, without resistance, without forcing. And precisely in this doing less, sleep becomes deep, brief, and complete. This is not a technique, it is a way of living in rhythm.
2. Understanding sleeping less. The philosophy of enough, Chisoku. Sleeping less in Japanese philosophy is not a badge of honor, nor a trade-off between health and ambition.
It is the natural result of a state of knowing enough, Chisoku, when a person lives in harmony with their own biological rhythm. Sleeping less comes not from force, but from deep balance between body, mind, and vital energy. The Japanese believe each person carries a unique rhythm. No two are the same. Some recover quickly, others need more time. Age, life stage, physical activity, and inner depth all shape the need for rest. That's why comparing sleep hours is a dangerous mistake. When you try to sleep by someone else's standard, you move away from your own natural rhythm. The philosophy of honoring biological destiny teaches that the body always knows how much it needs, if we are willing to listen. A person living in rhythm wakes up naturally when energy is full. No alarm clock, no forcing more sleep. Sleep ends gently, like a wave reaching the shore. That is when sleeping less appears, not because of lack, but because there is enough. Sleeping less is a result of harmony, not sacrifice. If you have to drag yourself out of bed or rely on coffee to pull your body through the day, that's not discipline, it's misalignment. Prolonged fatigue is not proof of effort, it's nature's warning that you're swimming against the current. In Chisoku thinking, enough does not mean less, it means no excess thoughts, no excess tension, no excess energy leakage during the day. When daytime living is full yet restrained, nighttime naturally becomes shorter and deeper. Those who truly understand sleeping less don't chase numbers or fight their bodies. They choose to live in rhythm and sleep just enough. And in that state of enoughness, energy is preserved, the mind becomes sharp, and sleep quietly turns into one of the strongest allies of success.
3. Gentle discipline, the foundation of Japanese sleep. Japanese sleep is not built on harsh self-control, but on a form of discipline so gentle that the body willingly follows. It creates order without tension, structure without force. When daily rhythm is properly placed, sleep naturally becomes deep, efficient, and restorative. The first foundation of this discipline is a fixed time for sleeping and waking. Every day, no negotiation. The Japanese understand that the body is like a tea ceremony. When timing is consistent, the mind enters the right state automatically. With regular sleep and wake times, the brain doesn't stay alert or guess what's coming. Hormones are released on schedule, the biological clock runs smoothly, and sleep is no longer a nightly negotiation. Gentle discipline continues in the way one wakes up. In the philosophy of Ichigo Ichie, each moment happens only once. Waking is not an act of force, but a meeting at the right time. Waking in the middle of a sleep cycle leaves the mind heavy and the body sluggish, as if pulled from a flowing stream. Waking at the end of a cycle, by contrast, brings lightness, clarity, and readiness to move. That's why 4.5, 6, or 7.5 hours are not rigid numbers, but conscious choices rooted in respect for natural rhythms. What matters is not how long you sleep, but how you wake up. Those who live in rhythm don't need harsh alarms. They wake like a wave touching shore, without impact, without resistance. The deepest layer of Japanese discipline lies in the ritual of closing the day. Going to sleep is not seen as collapsing from exhaustion, but as a ceremony that completes a full day of living. In the final 60 minutes, one deliberately steps away from noise. The 3-2-1 rule protects sleep. No heavy food 3 hours before, no work 2 hours before, no screens 1 hour before. Not as punishment, but as a clear signal to the brain. It's time to lower the sword. Stimulus is replaced with warm light, tension with meditation and gentle stretching, noise with intentional silence.
In that stillness, the nervous system is soothed, the mind settles, and the body enters sleep as if returning home. When each day is properly closed, each morning begins with clarity. Sleep is no longer a concern. It becomes the solid foundation for a resilient, focused, and energized life. 4. Morning, the ritual of opening the day, kaishi. In Japanese philosophy, morning is not merely the start of work, it is the ritual of opening the day, kaishi. How you enter the morning determines the quality of energy for the entire day. A well-timed morning doesn't require rushing or intense stimulation, but a natural and respectful awakening of body and mind. The foundation of this ritual is early light. Just 5 to 10 minutes in the morning sun, no sunglasses, no screens, is enough to send a clear signal to the brain that a new cycle has begun. Morning light resets the biological clock and gently regulates hormones. Wakefulness here doesn't come from force, but from full presence before the sun. Serotonin doesn't come from coffee, it's produced when the body aligns with the natural rhythm of light and air. The spirit of kaishi is sustained through small, conscious actions, kaizen. The Japanese don't look for dramatic morning boosts. They choose one right action repeated daily. No snoozing, no bargaining with delay in the very first moments. When you wake up, you get out of bed decisively, telling the mind, today has begun. Then comes cool water and light movement, not to punish the body, but to awaken the nervous system. A splash of cool water on the face, a few stretches, a slow, deep breath. Small actions that clearly transition the body from rest to vitality. Energy is activated gently, without shock or strain. Kaizen teaches that a small change in the right place can create a big difference. When the morning begins with clarity, the entire day becomes clear. You don't need caffeine or pressure to push yourself forward. Energy is generated by living in rhythm, not by force. A properly opened morning carries steadiness, focus, and calm. Kaishi doesn't create explosive momentum, it creates endurance, and from that endurance, a truly complete day begins. 5. Live in a way that makes sleep come easily, a holistic philosophy. Sleep doesn't begin when you get into bed. It is prepared throughout the entire day. In Japanese philosophy, deep sleep is the result of living in the right rhythm. There is no good sleep in a chaotic life, and no true recovery for a body and mind that are constantly being pulled tight. That's why the Japanese don't look for ways to sleep better. They reorganize the way they live so that sleep arrives on its own. The first foundation is eating in harmony with nature. Evening is not a time for stimulation, but a time to calm the system and lower energy. Sugar and fast carbohydrates cause sharp blood sugar swings, forcing the nervous system to stay active when it should be winding down. Instead, the Japanese choose simple, easy-to-digest foods: a banana, a bit of oatmeal, a handful of nuts, or a warm glass of milk. They don't eat to satisfy emotions, but to soothe the body. The right dinner doesn't make you fuller, it makes you calmer. The second pillar of sleep-supportive living is moving at the right time. Exercise itself isn't the problem, bad timing is. Heavy workouts late at night spike adrenaline and cortisol, pushing the body into fight mode just before rest. The Japanese understand that early morning or late afternoon is when energy is stable. Movement at these times allows energy to be fully processed during the day, so when night comes, the body no longer needs to stay on alert. Deeper than food and movement, however, is the stillness of the mind. Most insomnia doesn't come from the body, but from thoughts that were never closed. Unfinished tasks, unsaid words, unresolved decisions, all keep the mind working long after the body is tired. The Japanese choose a simple practice. Write down what's unresolved. No analysis, no judgment, just put it on paper. Once thoughts are placed outside, the mind no longer has to carry them. In the imagery of the samurai, there is an unwritten rule. No one sleeps while still holding a sword. Before resting, the warrior sets the sword down, removes the armor, and returns to being human. For modern people, the sword is responsibility, pressure, and expectation. If you don't consciously lay them down, sleep will not come. Living in order to sleep well is not weakness, it's intelligent energy strategy. When you eat right, move right, and know how to quiet the mind, sleep becomes a natural reward. No forcing, no hacks, no fighting the body. Those who live correctly don't hide in sleep to recover. They enter sleep the way one returns home, and from that return, energy is renewed each day, steady, resilient, and strong.
6. The sleep space, the aesthetics of wabi-sabi. Deep sleep is not only generated from within, it is also nurtured by the surrounding space. In Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi doesn't celebrate perfection, but simplicity, quietness, and just enough. The bedroom, therefore, is not a display, it is a refuge for energy. A sleep space in the right rhythm must first be dark, quiet, and cool. Darkness allows the brain to release melatonin naturally. Silence gives the nervous system permission to settle. Slightly cool air helps the body let go. When these three elements come together, the body understands on its own that it's time to rest. No reminders, no effort. The spirit of wabi-sabi is most clearly expressed through the principle of less stuff, less stimulation. Every unnecessary object in the bedroom silently pulls on the mind's attention. Strong colors, harsh lighting, electronic devices all keep the brain in a state of alertness. The Japanese choose removal over addition. They keep only what is truly needed, allowing the space to breathe and the mind to settle. Within that simplicity, a different kind of beauty appears. The beauty of sleep is not found in flashy comfort, but in a sense of safety and wholeness. When you enter a room that demands nothing, stimulates nothing, the body naturally drops its defenses. Sleep arrives quietly, without struggle or effort. Less light, less sound, fewer objects, so that stillness remains. And in that simple stillness, sleep becomes an art of recovery, gentle, yet enduring. 7. Managing sleep as a path of practice. In the Japanese spirit, sleep is not an urgent problem to be fixed, but a path of practice to be walked patiently. The more desperately people try to cure insomnia, the more pressure they create. The harder they force themselves to sleep, the more sleep slips away. So the Japanese choose a different attitude, managing sleep through mindful observation. The first step is observation without judgment. No labeling yourself as a bad sleeper, no self-blame for waking up tired. Simply record honestly, bedtime, wake time, how you feel upon opening your eyes, your level of alertness during the day. These notes aren't meant to control, but to listen to the body as you would a close friend. When the body is listened to, it begins to cooperate. When it's judged, it contracts and resists. The spirit of practice lies in not treating the body as something to be fixed, but as a system to be understood. Every tired morning is a message, not a failure. When you learn to read that message, you stop fighting sleep and start walking with it. After observation comes gradual improvement, kaizen. The Japanese don't change everything at once. Each week they choose one small adjustment, going to bed 15 minutes earlier, dimming the lights, ending screen time sooner, or getting more consistent morning sunlight. No rush, no force, because force only creates more tension, the greatest enemy of sleep. Kaizen teaches that small, consistent progress creates deep transformation. Good sleep doesn't come from one perfect night, but from many nights lived just a little more correctly than the day before. When change is gentle enough, the body doesn't resist. When it's consistent enough, results appear. Managing sleep means learning patience with yourself. No shortcuts, no instant results, just steadily resetting your rhythm, listening and adjusting. And along this path of practice, sleep gradually becomes a teacher, showing you how to live slower, deeper, and more in rhythm each day.
8. Japanese thinking on sleep and success. In Japanese thinking, sleep is not the opposite of success. It is the foundation of lasting strength. Only those who misunderstand energy see rest as weakness. The Japanese look deeper. Sleep doesn't slow you down, it sharpens you. A fine sword is not forged by striking endlessly without pause. It needs precise moments of rest for the steel to cool, for its structure to become strong. Human beings are the same. Sleep is a process of reverse forging, where the body recovers, the brain reorganizes, and the spirit is honed in silence. Sleeping enough and in rhythm leads to faster decisions, deeper focus, and more accurate action. The Japanese don't glorify staying up late as a medal of effort. Chronic late nights don't create strength, they drain tomorrow's energy. In samurai culture, a warrior never wastes vital force. True strength is not staying up the longest, but being the most ready when dawn arrives. That's why waking up clear-headed becomes the real measure of power. A person who opens their eyes with a clear mind, a light body, and a steady spirit will move far faster than someone dragging themselves through exhaustion. Victory doesn't come from extending time, but from using energy correctly. Japanese thinking about sleep and success teaches this: let sleep become your ally. When you sleep right, you live sharp. When you wake up whole, every action during the day carries the weight of awareness, and that is the kind of strength that allows a person to go far.
Sleep in harmony with nature. Live in harmony with the way. Sleeping in harmony with nature isn't about changing sleep, it's about changing how you live. When body and mind are no longer pulled tight, sleep naturally returns to its original role, a gateway to recovery, not a nightly struggle. You don't lack time. What you're losing is energy, leaking away through anxiety, tension, and misaligned daily rhythms. When you wake up before the alarm, without jolting, without heaviness, that is the clearest sign of harmony. Not because you slept less, but because you slept enough and at the right time. In that moment, the mind is clear, the body is light, and a quiet steadiness spreads from the very first breath of the day. Energy doesn't need to be dragged up by willpower, it is simply there. To live in harmony with the way is to stop fighting nature, to pause when it's time to pause, to lower when it's time to lower, and to move forward only when you are ready. Sleep becomes the most accurate mirror of your rhythm of living. When the day is rushed, the night becomes unstable. When the day is full yet restrained, the night becomes peaceful. What matters is not how many hours you lie in bed, but the quality of energy you carry throughout the day. When you stop wasting energy on unnecessary inner battles, you no longer need much time to recover. Sleeping less, then, is not sacrifice. It is the natural result of being in rhythm. Sleeping in harmony with nature is living in harmony with the way. No forcing, no chasing, no performance of effort. Just quietly adjusting one small rhythm at a time until body, mind, and vital energy move as one. And when that harmony appears, sleep is no longer a goal to reach, it becomes the natural reward of a life lived in the right direction.